Welcome to this JMC webinar, March 28th, 2023, How JMC Helps Charter Schools Be Successful. My name is Paul Freed. I'm a trainer here at JMC. I've been with JMC for 17 years after a teaching career in the Twin Cities. I'm joined by Brett Joyce and Sherry Phillips. I'm from Minnesota. Brett Joyce is also from Minnesota, but he's in Florida right now. Brett, why don't you just tell us briefly about yourself?
Yeah, thanks, Paul. I've been with JMC for a little over 2 years now, and after retiring after 32 years in education in southern Minnesota, most of my career was a high school principal, but my last stint was 5 years as superintendent, and I taught 9 years social studies in the great state of Minnesota.
Absolutely. And then also joining us from the great state of Wisconsin is Sherry Phillips. Sherry, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hey, thanks you, Paul, and super excited to be with Paul and Brett today. Absolutely. I'm nestled here in Racine, Wisconsin. I was a school secretary for several years and became a JMC user with that school, and now I help train new schools with JMC. And it is beautiful here, sunny, beautiful.
Absolutely. Here we are in March. Still got a little snow on the ground in Minnesota, but none in Florida, I am sure. Let's get started. So, unique schools deserve unique solutions. And we have a lot of charter schools that use JMC, and I really believe every charter school should use JMC. And we're going to talk about that today because charter schools meet a need that traditional public schools do not. That's not to say that public schools are bad by any means. We have lots of public schools. Public schools do a great job with large numbers of students, but there's lots of charter schools that pop up to meet the need that maybe that their local community needs. And that's why I like working with charter schools, right? Families choose to send their children to charter schools because they offer a mission and vision that's the best fit for them. That means charter schools often operate differently than traditional schools do as well. The thing to know is they still have to do all the things that a public school does, but they also have this added mission. And that's what really kind of gets me excited about charter schools. One size fits all SIS systems require schools to adapt to them, often creating extra cost, stress, and headaches. At JMC, we believe the SIS system should adapt to the school, not the other way around. From grading to scheduling to extracurriculars, JMC offers individualized custom solutions to meet your school's unique needs. Through our work with charter schools, we've gained experience with some common issues they face. Today, we'll take a look at examples of some of the common problems our schools face and then examine the unique solution JMC offers to each of them. I've worked with hundreds of charter schools. Typically, I like to at least touch base with any new charter school joining JMC because I know their unique needs. I know that it's a challenge to switch an SIS, but we offer great tools to make that switch easy and also allow people to save time overall. Because Brett and Sharon and I were prepping for this, and we were talking just like how small schools, I'd say a small school is anything under 1,000 students, right? They have a limited number of people in the office to do a lot of things. Well, that's where JMC really excels because we make those tasks easy. All right. I don't think we have any questions right away, so let's get right into it. And Sherry or Brett, if you see anybody type any questions in, let me know and I'll make sure to answer them. And you can add your thoughts as we go as well. All right, state reporting issues, always a big thing for charter schools, right? Maybe you get an entry code error, right? A new student just enrolled in your district and you're experiencing a state reporting error when submitting your fall submissions because their entry code's not entered correctly, right? Well, we got you. You can email our tech support team a PDF of the error report, and one of our state reporting experts will review it and reach out to you with a solution on how to remedy the error, typically within 24 hours, if not way less, typically within a few hours, but we set that bar of 24 hours. Most importantly, it's no extra cost to you. We have state reporting experts that work at JMC and they can help you. And that's really important to note because when you have a state reporting error, you need to get your answer done as quickly as possible. And so we really like helping schools with their state reporting situations that we have there as well. So in state reporting, I'm looking at a Minnesota database, but we could look at Iowa or Wisconsin or any of the states that have the charter school availability in their states. But I'm sorry, I'm looking at an Iowa one here as well, but we have for each state, the state listed, and then the different items that you're going to do. So in Iowa, it's state reporting of Iowa. You can look at state IDs and EL extract. If I looked at a Minnesota database, we'd look at the MARS portion, because charter schools are still doing MARS, and the EdFi portion as well. No matter what you're doing, you're gonna run into errors. That's just how state reporting goes. Well, we have our email right here, support@jmcinc.com. Any user can send the email to us to be able to use that and access that tech support. Now, you might ask yourself, well, why can't I call with my error? You sure can call JMC. Again, any user can call with questions they have as well. But our experience has shown that it's hard for a user to explain over the phone what's listed on an error report. And if you ever looked at an error report from your state, right, Department of Education, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So we encourage people to say, hey, if you got an error, don't call tech support. You sure can. We're probably going to say email the error to us because we want to see the exact error, the exact verbiage, and all that kind of information, because then we can help you through it there as well. So, Brett, you've worked with state reporting a little bit at your schools throughout the years, and I think, I mean, you know how important it is to be able to get help when you need it, because state reporting is complicated, don't you think?
Absolutely, Paul. And I'll tell you what, I'd like to add that JMC has always been a gold level provider of state reporting. Our programmers at JMC are on the ball and are always given the highest rating in their relationship with the state. What that means for an administrator like I was as a high school principal when I had an admin come to me that had an error on state reporting, well, we just exactly did what you just talked about. You email the report to those good people at JMC. And we've got people at JMC, Paul, that are have been doing state reporting for 20 plus years. So
Decades,
these
yes.
aren't they're not new to this process, which I think is also unbelievable. So they not only understand what's going on currently, but they understand the history of state reporting, which really gives them a value add to any administration that's working on state reporting.
Yeah, and we have relationships with the Department of Education too, whether it's, like I said, Minnesota, Iowa, Wisconsin, where a lot of charter schools are. We do a webinar with them every year to hear what the updates are from our perspective and their perspective, to keep people updated as well. Awesome. I don't think any questions are in, so let's keep on rolling. All right, another big issue at charter schools, unexpected staffing changes, right? There is more turnover at many charter schools, not all charter schools, but many charter schools throughout the years that they'll be in existence. I mean, just like public schools too, but you need to get training, right? Hey, you got staff turnover, excuse me, can cause stress. Out of the blue, you have an unexpected departure from your office team and school is starting in 5 days. For small schools whose employees often take on many duties that would be outside of their role at a large school district, unexpected staff turnover can create a little bit of chaos, right? Once that new person is hired, you just reach out to the training team to set up immediate one-on-one, hands-on training to get them up to speed in a short amount of time. And it's important because it's also no extra cost to you whatsoever. So here's the important thing. New person comes in, hey, they need some training. We'll typically do, if it's literally 5 days of school, we'll hop on, do a webinar with that person one-on-one, get them going, make sure they can log into their system. Then we'll probably send them a video. Hey, JMC 101, watch that video, get your hands wet a little bit. And let's do a half-hour training tomorrow, and let's do a half-hour training in 3 days, and then get into school and work on that. And then maybe we'll do an hour training to school a week after school starts, whatever it might be. We're there to help guide you with that. And that's really important because videos are part of our training process to get people going, but a lot of times you just need somebody there to help answer some of your questions to keep you moving forward quickly. So really important to recognize that. And Sherry, I mean, you help onboard new schools. You know how important it is to get individualized training. I mean, I know you hear from our schools that join JMC every year, how much do they appreciate that one-on-one training to be able to get their questions answered?
Oh, absolutely. No, they appreciate it so much. And it's just having that person right there to answer all your questions because, we all absorb things differently. With the videos and the follow-up articles and the in-person training, it's customized to that person on what they need. It's awesome.
Yeah, it is awesome. Great. Any questions, Sherry, on that topic, or should we keep rolling?
Keep rolling.
Great. All right. Underperforming communication tools. When I visit a charter school who's interested in using JMC, I always tell them you gotta communicate well with your families. You've got to do a great job because school or families expect that now. And so a lot of folks have an SIS that doesn't have an integrated communication system, right? They've got a third-party system. They've got two third-party systems, one that does an app and one that does their messaging and so on. And that just gets confusing, number one. But number two, it means that the most of your staff can't use it, right? If you're using a third-party system, it's maybe an administrator or a secretary that does it, but not your teachers, not your coaches. We allow you to really excel with communicating with families. So families need access to info 24/7. It's the world we live in. Parents and guardians are not receiving timely communication about events and opportunities for kiddos, which is leading to a lack of awareness regarding the broad and diverse educational experiences your school offers, right? Your school offers something different. Are you communicating that? Not only does this stifle school to community collaboration, it also means enrollment can slow. Parents can't enroll children in a school they are unaware of. With JMC's Message Center, users can first direct messages to specific groups by grade level, activity, course, and even bus number. You can record and save common messages for future use. You can do it with a live voice there. You can use our text to voice feature to type a message that would be read by your choice of a male or female voice when the call is placed. And you can utilize a combination of phone call, email, and or text messaging to ensure your news is delivered how users prefer. Also, JMC developed the Teacher Message Center to remove time barriers that can prevent teachers from communicating more often with students and families. The Teacher Message Center is a fully integrated email and text messaging module that makes it easy for educators to build positive relationships with their families and students. There's nothing more effective for communicating with families and students than a teacher text messaging, "Hey, my chemistry class. Hey, just a reminder, we've got a test tomorrow. It's on chapter 6 in on the periodic table. Send that out at 4 o'clock at the end of the day." Wow, the parents get that text message. "Hey, Johnny, Susie, Khalid, whatever it might be, make sure to study for that test." Super helpful, handy tool right at your fingertips. Until now, schools have not had a way of existing in existing SISs to send email, text, or phone calls to members of the community regarding important information such as sporting events or snow days. This led to schools using third-party software to repeat their message to the community, doubling their effort and time. For some schools, it meant foregoing informing community members altogether. So what we mean community members, we mean people who are not part of your school community. So it can be bus drivers, it can be aunts and uncles of students, whatever it might be. Well, now we have the Community Message Center rolling out the summer of 2023. Community members will now have an online portal to create their own account and choose the type, email, text, or voice of messages they want to receive from the school district. When sending messages in JMC Office's Message Center, users can easily include community members as recipients. The module is fully integrated, so schools have a streamlined process and inform community without third-party software. So, Brett, I know you're a big fan of the Message Center, and I'm just going to bring it up here real quick here under Message Center to send messages. I'm going to make it a little bigger so our viewers can see it here as well. And Brett, what are some of the things that you liked about the Message Center that kind of made it easy for you as an administrator or for your staff?
Well, I'll tell you what, I like the simplicity of our format, Paul, first and foremost. But secondly, the power of doing this, I think, is just incredible. Every summer, I would record some really important, like school closer messages. That way, if I were in a hectic pace, which typically happens when you have to close school, you could have your administrative assistant send it out on your behalf or whatever. It was already there. If I wanted to do one live, I had that option, but I always had some backup. I like that feature. I also like the feature that I'll just say the key to really operating in a modern school today, Paul, is communication. And let's
Yeah,
face it, communication is no longer just mailing something snail mail home. In fact, that's not done, and it saves a ton of money for schools not to do that. Now you text, phone, email, and we can do all three. You see that last radio button there, email,
absolutely.
text, and phone. I'd use that a lot. Why not get them multiple times? Reminding people in all those mediums is really super neat and super easy and super important.
Yeah, your bus gets in a fender bender, right? And the kids aren't getting it home because you got to send another bus. You can come here to the bus route number, put that bus route in that your school, that bus 14A or whatever bus it is that you've entered in. Hey, I'm going to send email, text, and phone here. I'm going to send this out, and boom, it's going to start lighting up people's phones. So let them know, hey, we had a minor bus accident. Nobody was injured, but we're sending another bus. Your bus is going to be probably about an hour late, right? That's a huge time and also frustration saver for our schools. So it's really helpful in that way. So that message, you just can't even um, overemphasize how important it is. And again, for teachers to know, but also it's a relationship builder. And to be honest, and I've talked to many, I said I've trained hundreds of charter schools. People choose charter schools for the education, but also because there's a relationship there, right? And you want to continue to build that relationship there on the Message Center. So, Sherry, is there any questions
Yeah,
about the Message Center? Anything you want to add?
no, there's no questions, but I had one comment. The other thing
Yeah,
that's really awesome is how you can customize who those messages are sent to, which is huge, right?
yeah,
Because so many families are like, I get so many messages that have nothing to do with me. I just tend to ignore them. With JMC, you can pick your audience so that communication is even more effective, right? And yeah,
Absolutely.
charter schools, I love that every student should have a place where they feel like they fit. And I love that charter schools gives them just one more opportunity, right?
Yep, yep, and you want to communicate, like you said, to the group, so people aren't being like, "Well, I'm getting 10 messages a week that don't apply to me," right? No, it's for this grade level, this course, this bus number, whatever it might be. So great point, Sherry. Thank you. All right, inexperienced food service professionals, like running a food service program is complicated. And we want to make sure that schools can do it efficiently. We've got tools that are easy to use. If a school is not using a lunch program, which there are still charter schools that don't, I tell them nothing is going to save more time than this food service program. But not only that, but you're taking lots of time somebody who's never run a food service program and you're asking them to do this. Well, here we go. You've hired a new food service manager who has very little experience running a school's food service program. Making sure free reduced meal applications are submitted completely and on time is an important task at the beginning of the school year. One that schools often rely on for food service managers to do. An experienced food service manager could put educational meal benefits at risk. The JMC lunch module seamlessly manages school meal administration from high-level menu planning and reporting to meal account management, including free and reduced meal applications, which JMC submits for you. We also offer built-in, easy-to-use point-of-sale software, ring up meal purchases, access detailed reporting of both meals and a la carte purchases, and more. Um, I'm going to show you briefly here. I can look at a lot of things in the lunch module, but one of my favorites here is under lunch down to free and reduced. We've got a whole section on free and reduced. Families can apply online with their free and reduced application, or if somebody brings a piece of paper in, you simply come in here to determine free or reduced status. What's the size of the family? 6 people in the family. Every 2 weeks, mom brings in 600. Twice a month, dad brings in 1100 or whatever it might be. You calculate that. I'm gonna have to change this to I'm in next year's program. Next year's the 2023-24 guidelines haven't come out. Let's try it here. I'm in this year's program, 22-23. Let's do this again. 6 people in the family. So every 2 weeks, dad brings in $600. Twice a month, mom brings 1100 in. We calculate that. They are eligible for free meals. They're within 14%. Choose the family. Make them free. Sure you want to do that? Absolutely, I do. Then we're gonna come here, print the letter. Here's the kids right that are free. All the information's right here. We click view letter, and whatever your state has for the free and reduced determination letter is going to be listed right here with all the information at the bottom. It is super, super handy. And yeah, the reason I couldn't do it in 23-24 is, like I said, the income guidelines aren't out, but for 22-23, we are good to go. And actually, that's one thing I like, right? If I went to 23-24 in JMC, if I come here to determine free and reduced status, I'm just going to run through it again here and just choose an amount. We tell you, hey, updated income eligibility guidelines from the federal government are not available until late July. If the data is missing at this time, please check with technical support. It never is. We do, but we tell you on this screen. So if you've got a new food source professional and they, for some reason, on June 1st, get an application and they're like, I'm going to put this in JMC. It's so easy to do. Oh, hey, they've not been released yet, right? They might not be out till, we say late July. Typically, it's earlier, but we like to let people know, hey, come back in late July and check for that. And we put the income guidelines in right for you. You don't need to do anything. It will just switch, and then the users can do this. So, Sherry, we've talked a lot about when you've been training new users, how important it is to make the program intuitive. I mean, can you speak to a little bit of that? I mean, you've never run a lunch program, but I mean, I think you could see that it's not hard to be able to use these tools and get to them pretty easily. Would you agree?
You know what? Absolutely. And I hope everyone was impressed as I was when you were in the wrong year. It was very, you could say,
Oh yeah.
okay, I'm in the wrong year. And it is. And you'll notice too with JMC, a lot of the screens look and work the same, and that's on
Yep.
purpose. It's the more you use JMC, the more you know how to use JMC, I guess is how I could say
Yep.
it.
Once you get a feel for it, it's easy to navigate from one page to the next. Great. And then third-party apps, right? When the SIS you've purchased doesn't include all the features you need, you end up with lots of workaround and unnecessary third-party apps to schedule parent-teacher conferences, mass notify families via phone calls, text message, emailing, update yearly student registration information, make meal account deposits, or pay fees easily, and more. Well, JMC is your all-in-one solution. With JMC, you can have all the functionality that third-party applications offer in just one system, meaning your SIS is streamlined and your spending is consolidated. From granting substitutes needed access to keeping track of community service hours, we have solutions that don't require managing third-party apps. So this is the important thing, right? In JMC, and Brett and Sherry, you can jump in here, right? But we've got the messaging system. What other modules do we have, Brett and Sherry, that kind of rise top of mind that you wouldn't need a third-party program for?
The coaches, we have applications too, Paul. We've got the admin app, we've got the
Yep.
family app, we've got the coaches app. And I just mentioned the coaches app because there's a third-party software that a lot of schools use, but you don't need to because JMC has it built right in. And another good thing about JMC software with messaging programming like your coaches or activity advisors is it logs all the things that were said
Yes.
so that administrators have a record. So if a family member calls in and said, hey, I didn't get a message on picture day from the coach, and you can say, well, it was sent on Monday at 5 p.m. on this date, you have a log of that information. It's super easy to have that. And you do need to have facts. And when people are accusing a coach of being inappropriate, maybe even in a message, you can have the actual log that tells you exactly what that coach said. So it's great to back up the school, and especially as a former administrator, I liked all those tools that JMC had.
Absolutely. Sherry, another ones that you can think of as well?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Fees, of course, the
Oh, yeah.
conference, Sign Up Genius, I know it comes to mind, but for conferences, but we have the,
Parent teacher conferences. Yep.
Parent teacher conference is awesome. I just think there's everything that's needed, JMC continues to come up with, so it can be all in one is the best way for me to put it.
Yeah.
Also,
Yeah.
hearing Paul, discipline too.
Absolutely.
A lot of schools
Electronic discipline.
put their discipline out there, especially charter schools, on Google Forms, which are highly confusing. They're not very confidential, and JMC is all of that. It allows you to communicate and create records of discipline that are very helpful, and again, keep you out of legal and liability issues, which is huge. I mean, if you just start a new charter school, your concern is too, you want to do things right. And you also
Yep.
want to do things that are legal and compliant, and JMC has that all covered for you.
Absolutely.
It
Also,
is
oh, go ahead, Sherry. Yeah. Go on.
and the health, right? I mean,
Absolutely.
and the health is what I love about the health module is it's very expansive if you need that, but it's also very streamlined if that fits your needs. So it works both ways.
Yep. And we talked about the lunch module already, and you kind of glossed over a little bit, but online payments, credit card payments, ACH payments for tuition and fees. And if your school, Minnesota's going to have free lunches next year, free breakfast and lunch, so they won't be doing meal payments, but well, for all card items, they sure could. But all card items and credit card payments for that as well. So it's everything you need. And we have so many features, well, not that people need, but also that are optional that help that charter schools might not even think about using. So that's helpful and exciting as well.
And
So
then just last before I know we could just
yeah.
keep it, we talk a lot.
Yeah.
Online reg can be
Oh,
used by
yes.
New Family and the apps, the family app, the student
Yep.
app, all together.
Absolutely. Yeah, the online registration families can re-register over the summer, or new families can register for your school as well. So super cool. And then the last item here, unexpected costs for support. Other SS providers charge for and limit access to their support offerings, leaving the majority of their users without the help they need. We offer free support to all users in a variety of formats to fit user need. Trainings, including weekly webinars, YouTube videos, on-site visits, live local tech support specialists, and on-demand tools anytime, anywhere that you need them. So anybody can call tech support, anybody can get webinar trains just like this. And for new schools, we visit them to do on-site training. So really helpful to keep your team moving effectively so you don't get bogged down in some technical support question or some train issue. I say this to schools sincerely, we're partners. The more successful you guys are, the more successful we are. And so we want that relationship to be beneficial to both parties. So here's a few key takeaways here why JMC is the #1 choice for charter schools. First, JMC offers all-in-one solutions for one low price, eliminating the need for third-party apps and workarounds. Second, JMC offers unlimited training and tech support from data migration to onboarding new employees. And third, JMC has your custom options for your SIS. Our sales team can help you create the system that meets your school's unique needs. So it's very exciting there. So, hey, be social with us. Another great way to stay up to date in all things JMC is through our social media presence. Follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and LinkedIn at OnlineJMC or on our blog, jmcinc.com/news. On behalf of myself and Brett and Sherry, thanks for your time today. And please reach out if you'd like to learn more about JMC.